Tippy time my damies, Top Cat here and welcome back to the channel. I'm taking a look at boner builds this week as I was very excited to get my hands on the Hushed Whisper, made available for this year's Festival of the Lost. This is a Strand precision bow. With these we always want to bring down that draw time. My favourite string to use is elastic, followed closely by polymer or flexible. When it comes to your arrow though, we want compact shaft all day, said no woman ever. The only other arrow I would accept using is straight fletching for that full accuracy bonus. Now it's a little bit more loosey-goosey when it comes to our masterworks. I pretty much bin anyone with a stability one, but as we use the draw time, handling, reload and accuracy all during one tug and release, any one of these will yield similar results, so any port in the storm. Being a Festival of the Lost weapon, it does have access to that search party origin trait, which plays much like Lone Wolf, but it does also have that wild card if you ever wanted to get some more AoE damage out of it. In the left hand column we've got perks like Splice, Snapshot, Lead from Light, Lone Wolf, Successful Warm Up, Impulse and Tear, with Precision Instrument, Aggregate Charge, Collective Action, Collective Pugilism, Explosive Payload, Hatchling and Archer's Gambit in the right. Now it's time to send ourselves to the shrink for some real honesty with ourselves. Despite having a couple of cool combos like Successful Warm-Up with Archer's Gambit for that hip fire hottie, Lead from Light paired with like either Collective Action or Collective Pugilism for a bit of an orb spam build, and God forbid that one day Bungie can figure out how to please both the hand cannon community without neutering the bow community. In the Crucible, I like that combo of Lone Wolf with Explosive Payload. But if we are truthful with ourselves, we will come to realize, hey, it's a Strand bow. Of course we're going to be using one of these 3 Strand perks here, perhaps pairing it with one of these damage ones. Now we've got 2 dates to the dance here, so we're going to leave one in the limo, as we have to realize the Wishkeeper exotic bow generally would be the better Strand bow, allowing us to string up our foes in those green gimp ropes, whilst additionally gaining perks like Bauble Weapon and Hatchling. So where we would want to use the Hushed Whisper is on a Strand kit, where we favour a different exotic. In that left hand column, Splice was a very tasty pick, severing several targets after we use our class ability. This perk is somewhat specific though to our build, but will shine on kits like the Aviant Leaf, the RDM and the Swarmers. But I did find I got more regular use out of the Tear option, where it does an AoE sever attack on those precision final blows. All of my damage testing here was done at -30, and all of my content was shot while soloing -30 fireteam content. And when my kit is all spun up, this Hushed Whisper is going to be doing 115% more damage than base. Its base damage is 97, the majority of my stats are going to be gunner pieces, earning me 150 stat, pushing out our damage to 104. There's not real need to go much further than this. This already increases our handling and reload speed and damage to minor and mages by 15% and an additional 7.5% damage bonus against our bosses, which for consistency's sake is what I'm testing my damage at. In the artifact we have that perk Semi-Auto Striker, where when we have fewer than 2 stacks of armor charge, rapid precision hits are going to grant us an armor charge. Now this requires 3 crits to activate to gain an armor charge. I have 1 Strand Surge giving us a 10% damage bonus, pushing out a crit to 114. Now with those armor charges in hand, we have Argent Quiver, so when we reload a bow, it consumes an armor charge, increasing the next 3 shots. This damage bonus pushes our crit out to 156. Now it is important to note, if you are going to be running a Surge mod here with that Semi-Auto Striker and Argent Quiver, that you will need to have a Stacks on Stacks mod on your boots. This is meant to double our armor charges when we pick up an Orb of Power. It is though working with that Semi-Auto Striker to feed us 2 armor charges with those 3 crits. This is really important, as when you activate Argent Quiver, it strips you of that armor charge, thus stripping you of that Strand Surge. So if you don't have the Stacks on Stacks, you won't have that Strand Surge. Hatchling was good, but it wasn't all that necessary this season, as we already puke out enough bugs to fuel your local exterminator's retirement plan. But it would be handy holding onto one of these for the future. Precision Instrument stacks up damage by chaining crit, topping out at 30% damage. But this does require a lot of consistency that often isn't afforded to us. For me, the prize pooch of this weapon is Aggregate Charge. This affords us a damage bonus for each elemental debuff applied to the target. And we don't have to apply these by ourselves either. If your allies using a Jolt kit, it's going to help you. A Helion is going to help you. But ideally, you want to come up with a kit for yourself so you can utilize all 3 debuffs at once. With 1 debuff active, this gives us an 11% damage bonus, pushing out our damage to 175. With 2, this is adjusted to a 22% damage bonus for 190 crit. And with 3 debuffs, our pants swell, pushing out our damage to 208 crit. Please note here that I've used 3 Strand debuffs, so if you've got a kit that say uses weakened smoke bombs or scorching radiant knives, this is only going to increase your damage bonus further. But as my kit stands, I'm earning 115% damage bonus. This is very exciting to me, as I've always enjoyed loving bows. I've grinded for those god rolls, I've collected them in my vault, but when it came to the content, if you ever needed that bow for your Grandmaster or Ultimate run, I'd always just end up fanging on an exotic instead. Now though, thanks to our artifacts and gunner, our legendary bows are finally viable. Being that this is a Strand bow, one of the best fragments to run alongside this kit is Thread of Isolation, where we rapidly land precision hits to emit a severing burst from the target, easily giving us our first aggregate charge. I tried the bow on my Hunter, Titan and Warlock, but found the Swarmers were definitely the best option, as by destroying tangles we spawn 2 threadlings, and any threadling damage applied is going to unravel targets, applying that second aggregate charge for a 22% weapon damage bonus. Now it's easier than a Streetwalker to create threadlings, as we got threadling proliferation in the artifact, so when we deal Strand weapon damage we have a chance to create a threadling, and when we defeat a Strand debuff target this increases the chance. So we'll have plenty of bugs crawling around the floor like we just flipped on the kitchen light. Now of course we need to run that Weaver's Call, Strand aspect, so our class ability generates threadlings, and we deploy additional threadlings we have perched. These can be generated purely by dealing damage. So we've got a good source of Sever on the kit and Unravel. The third we want to abuse is Suspension. So we've got the Wanderer Strand aspect equipped, so tangles we throw detonate a suspension burst. Our tangles are on a 10-second creation cooldown, but we never had to worry about that, as these are pretty much just generated automatically every 10 seconds due to the amount of Strand damage we throw out there. Our threadling final blows create tangles, and with Swarmers it'll yang out us more threadling. So with these 3 debuffs applied, we've got a beautiful roadmap to that tier 3 aggregate charge. Like I said earlier, we didn't really need that hatchling mod on the weapon itself, as we're rocking Thread of Rebirth, so our Strand weapons have a chance to create further threadling. Now being a Strand bow and that abundance of tangles, there was no doubt that we would be using Threaded Blast, whereby destroying a tangle, it detonates with a larger damage and radius. This perk is an absolute tank slapper, and with those threadlings just creating them all across the battlefield, it's easy to pick them off with our bow like little tactical nukes. We also had Tangled Web, whereby creating a tangle is going to detonate a suspension burst around it for even more harmonious aggregate charge. And we can't forget that with Thread of Evolution, all our threadlings hit 33% harder and travel 30% faster. Now you might think equip Suspension Grenade, I instead chose Hatchling. It works better overall with the kit, as we got 5-piece gunner set, which means we have high grenade, and I pushed it a little bit further even with a grenade font. Realistically, threadlings paired with Tangled Web are going to create us more suspension. We're also using Pack Tactics, so dealing damage with our threadlings increases our threadling damage. This puppy is triggered on and off consistently. With this kit, you'll never truly be in full control of these bugs, but it will help us deal with those champions, whether by using our Rift, our Grenade, or our Super. No matter the method, those charging monsters are easily melted, and they're always readily available to us as I run one bolstering detonation mod, so whenever I throw out a threadling grenade, it's going to grant me back Rift energy. I would also suggest running one Strand loader, as we are constantly pulling it back. As we're mainlining that bow, the Bushido armor was no doubt the clear winner here. That armor of choice gives us the perk Ido, Shadow, which rewards us with 35 HP with final blows or freshly reloaded weapons. It has a 3-second internal cooldown on it, and whilst it mightn't sound like a lot, the reality is with a bow this pretty much means every second kill is going to heal us. We're running that full 4-piece, so our bow, shotgun and sword final blows give us an extendable 10% damage resist. This was strong enough to allow me to run a 0 health kit. Sadly I've been upgrading an awful lot of armor lately and my ass is a bit broke. Now the downfall of running solo is the legendary bow still isn't the best shield cracker despite having anti-barrier bow equipped. At negative 30 it's still going to require 2 crits to break that shield. I would highly recommend running elemental daze with this kit, as once that shield is cracked, this perk can knock about as much as 50% of that champ's health bar down. This is cream factory stuff. With all the green fury across the battlefield, Cauterized Darkness was an easy selected perk here, increasing our solar damage output by 30% to any Strand debuff target. This kit for me really started clicking with that Ariana's Bow. This special ammo hand cannon now one-taps anti-barrier shields and honestly now feels more viable than the Wish Ender and Arbalest combined. The Catalyst gives us auto-loading holster, so we're always ready to crack, and it's particularly good against enemies like our High Wizards, really anything with a solar shield, as with the shield break it triggers ignition. I chose the Financier Solar Waveframe Sword for a few reasons. Firstly, being that we have that 4-piece Bushido, it's going to grant us heals and damage resist, and we can make it an overload weapon thanks to the artifact. It's got nothing but good perks in the right hand column, whether you're using Eager's Edge, Burning Ambition or Surrounded like myself, there's no wrong choice here, but I did really like running Attrition Orbs in the left hand column to make us orbs at power when we land rapid hits. This is particularly beautiful with my last fragment, Thread of Warning, where we pick up an orb of power to grant us Woven Mail for that beautiful 45% damage resist, allowing me to duel bosses toe to toe, tip to tip while solo. And I also found that natural movement tech of the Waveframe Sword really did pair well in conjunction with my ranged weapon, allowing me to play the range when I needed, crack shields when needed, and clean up when needed. Now feel free to pause here for my mods, fragments and artifacts, but there will be a dim link in the description down below. As far as our legendary bows go, they hit this one out of the park, giving us all the toys we could ever want on it. And this will be good for your collection, whether you're a PvE or PvP player. But like a lot of weapons, it's only as good as your kit, so dig out your favorite Strand one. I'll be leaving this one in a dim link in the description down below. Let me know what combo you'll be utilizing. Make sure to thumb it if you dug it, sub if you're new, and as always, tippy tie my damies, what a tie.